Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised.
Welcome one and all to Dice Company, The Ungovernables, Chapter 1. We're a completely different group of old friends weave tales of glory, success, and misery under the guise of playing Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Tom, and the Order of the Heron are taking a much-needed summer break. So we have searched far and wide to find you a collection of suitable replacements. There's a couple of familiar faces and a few new ones who are ready to jump into Alestia with both feet. The events of the next 4 chapters are occurring in the same world, on the same continent, at roughly the same time. Before we begin, don't forget to check out our Discord community for a chance to chat to some awesome people. If you'd like to support the show, go to our Patreon. And if you'd like to own some of your own merchandise, visit dicecompanypodcast.com. Links to all of those are in the show notes. One note of warning to listeners, this episode contains graphic descriptions of violence. Listener discretion is advised. A big thank you to the band Plainride for providing music for these upcoming episodes. Check them out on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music. With that out of the way, let's turn the page on the first chapter of The Ungovernables in this week's Dice Company. Civilizations rise and fall all the time. From Cantioch to Nebuchadnezzar, Badsa Kingdom to Belvandir, organized societies of all shapes and sizes have risen, grown, collapsed, and disappeared. Currently, there are a few continents which house as imposing a civilization as the Kalian Empire of Athlon. The ruler, Emperor Salazar, traditionally sits aboard his airship above Lunadyne, its capital city and the heart of the empire. But if Lunadyne is the heart, then River City is the arteries. An enormous, bustling city sat on the Golden River, which leads from the Moonshadow Mountains down to the Rolagol Sea. Sea trade routes from continents like Goresh, Silveria, and Badsa Kingdom all congregate in River City, as do travellers from these exotic and sometimes strange lands. Legitimate trade runs through, as does the huge and sprawling black market, divided up by a number of warring organisations, each desperate to control more and more by any means necessary. Despite their differences, all the criminals, sailors, officials, merchants, boatmen and bounders agree on one thing. There's money to be made in River City, for those with the strength of personality to take it. It is late summer, the 13th of Harvesttide to be precise, nighttime, and in the North End Tavern, a popular drinking establishment along the Waterways Promenade, a group of summer festival revellers are enjoying the cheapest ale they can find and awaiting the finals of the Iron Fist tournament set to take place in the morning. The whole pub is singing for their favourite pit fighter, who is lapping up the attention of the adoring masses, while a turtle stands loyally beside him. As the handsome bearded man smiles and conducts the singers, unaware he's being watched from the shadows by a man with tattoos on his arms, an athletic woman with a bow over her shoulder enters, grabs him by the arm, and spins him to face her. "You, Bardol Schultz, are a pig!" She slaps him hard in the face, and silence falls over the tavern. With an aggravated yell, she spins on her heels and begins to storm out. "Oh, Mr. Bardol, what happened with you and Isabella? I thought I sensed romance in the air."
There's always romance in the air when Bardol's about, you know that, Rosie. But no, frankly, I'd forgotten her name, so thank you for refreshing the old brain basket there. She was a lovely young lady, but like all things, they come, they go, days of the week and all that. Bless her. Oh, I shall miss Elizabeth terribly.
"I think it was Isabella."
Yes, her too.
From across the tavern, the bard who was leading everyone in song moments before begins belting out a chorus once again.
One time he fought a dire bear, yeah, he'll kick your ass, and he'll steal your lass, yeah, his name is Bardol Schultz. The song's almost over, but it's almost
So raise your glass, 'cause he'll kick your ass. His name is Bardol Schultz. Ah, how I love that song. Can't hear it enough. God love the people of River City. They've embraced us, Rosie, have they not? But, now I think something is afoot, though. Speaking of which, where is that darn squire of mine?
He's playing cards. I'll go check on him. And Rosalind heads off down some steps to the main tavern floor and up to a table where 2 people are playing cards. Please describe your character.
Hi, I am Chris. I'm playing Egbert. I am a 5'10" fighter. I'm a very handsome fella. Blue eyes, brown hair.
And sat across the table from Egg, another gentleman. Please describe your character.
My name is Sai. I am playing Curious Midnight, a tiefling rogue born on the streets. He is a red-skinned, yellow-eyed, 6'2" imposing tiefling.
Egg deals a few more cards onto the table. You've been very lucky so far. I've got a good feeling I'm going to win this one.
Ah, come on, geezer. You ain't got a chance, mate.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Can you both give me perception checks, please?
Perception or sleight of hand?
Perception for the time being.
Oh, dear God. 16.
13 for Egg.
Curious, you notice Egg has palmed a card and moved it into his hand.
Well. What do you think you're playing at here, mate?
What do you mean?
Playing cards, palming cards. Slight difference.
Let's not act like you didn't palm a card in that last hand there.
Prove it.
Empty your pockets. Let's see.
I'm guessing you will want a deception check.
You can give me a performance or sleight of hand or deception. It's your choice. Depends on what you want to do.
We'll go sleight of hand. It's a 10.
You attempt to remove the card from your pocket sneakily, but it slips through your fingers, landing face up on the floor.
I knew it. You were a cheat. I was just making things fair.
What are you on about? This is a different deck of cards, mate. I've always got them in my pocket. I play a lot of cards.
Don't make me get Bardol. He hates cheats. He's too honourable.
Honourable? Have you met him before?
You take that back.
Oh, come on. We're having a game of cards, mate. This is a pub. This is where we just have a bit of a game. You came to me. I don't know what your issue is.
A turtle approaches. Oh, what's going on here, gentlemen?
Hello, Treacle. We're just having a game of cards. Do you want in?
Oh, no, I'm not very good at cards. You have to lie to be good at cards.
You say lie. I say look. Slight difference.
She looks you up and down. What do you do for a living?
Well, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I just go from town to town, try and make a living, play a bit of cards. You know, bit of this, bit of that, bit of t'other.
Are you looking for work?
Egg stands up in disgust, heads to the bar.
I'm always looking for work. Hard to get work as a tiefling, innit? Look at me. Everybody thinks I'm the devil.
Well, you're talking to a giant turtle, so I do understand your pain.
Fair point, well made.
Wait here a second. And she turns around and heads back up the steps towards Bardol. They chat momentarily, and then she returns to you. Well, my name is Rosalind. It's nice to meet you. I have someone I'd like you to meet. Rosalind leads you up the steps towards Bardol.
All right, fella. How's it going? Your turtle mate over here just said that you might be looking for somebody to help you out with a job.
Ah, the lovely Rosie, eh? Well, there's always a little bit of things afoot when you're around the great Bardol Schultz. Let me tell you, young man. What is your name, young red fellow?
It's Curious, fella.
Uh-huh. And what is your trade, young man? You look slippery.
Slippery by name, slippery by nature. Yeah, I do a bit of this, bit of that. Bobbing, weaving, you know what I mean?
Marvellous. Always need a good man who can get into a tiny place and out again with lovely shiny things. So yes, I may have a spot of work coming up. Perhaps you'd like to join my new band I'm cobbling together. Time to take this town by storm, I think.
What's on the table, mate? How much?
How interesting you would phrase it so. Well, I'm sure we can come to some kind of split as far as booty goes. After all, I'm open-handed, generous, and well-loved by all. I'm sure you'll be no different to everyone else.
Well, not very well loved, but yeah.
Someone from the crowd runs over. I love you, Bardol Schultz, and gives you a big hug and a kiss on the cheek.
Of course you do, young man.
He runs off.
Anyway, I saw you throwing some cards about with the old egg over there.
Yeah, he's a sneaky one, that one.
Well, he is trying, but...
He is very trying.
Haha! Yes, well, he'll be better. Anyway, I'm sure you'll enjoy the band and the skullduggery that comes with it. You look just the kind of chap we could do with, actually.
I like to think so. Count me in.
Marvellous.
With the conversation between Curious, Bardol, and Rosalind continuing, from the shadows steps the tattooed man who's been watching for some time. He moves towards the group. Mark, please describe what your character looks like.
So what they see is a 6'2" imposing human being. He is wearing black monk's garb, which is loose, allowing for free movement. He is also wearing something akin to a black-coloured boxer's robe with maroon trim. The hood is up a bit, but not obscuring his face. At his hip, he carries a vicious-looking katana that he has named Ravenna. He walks up to Bardol and gives him a firm tap on the shoulder and gives a respectful bow, but not a supplicant one. And an outstretched arm comes from him with a letter in hand.
He passes the letter to Bardol, which has Bardol's name on it, along with a line which reads, "Delivered by night." The letter reads, "Dear Bardol, you mad bastard, I hope this letter finds you in one piece. You've certainly made a name for yourself in the last couple of months. You've drawn the attention of a lot of people, myself included. But I, unlike a lot of others, don't begrudge you your success. And now I hear you're in the finals of the Iron Fist tourney. Impressive. It does beg the question, though. Why? Why put yourself in a prominent position? Why put yourself directly in the glare of the Empire? I suppose you must have heard, as I have, about a certain artifact arriving in the city tomorrow, all the way from Alphon, no less. Now, if I were a gambling man, I'd bet you're looking to do the same thing a lot of gangs are trying to do, and intercept that artifact. You've probably convinced yourself that winning the tourney will put you close to a Lariac, and that there'll likely be ones with access to it. It's a bold plan, and if I may say, stupid. Choosing to put yourself in the sights of the Shadow Vanguard goes beyond recklessness. Luckily for you, I can help. I happen to know the artifact's exact current whereabouts. I can provide that information, and all I ask in response is a favor. In tomorrow's finals, you're facing a rather impressive specimen. A great big brute of a creature who was unfortunate enough to fall under the control of the Blackwater Gang. I don't like the Blackwater Gang. Tournaments and fighting pits are a lucrative income stream for us, and this monster could financially impact us for a long time. I will not stand for that. So, you find a way to free the new fighter from his bonds of servitude, and I'll make sure you get the details on the artifact. I'll lend you some help. The bearer of this note is a trusted bodyguard of mine. He is a friend and confidant who will assist you in your endeavors, free of charge, and when the job is done, he'll give you the information you need and assist you in relieving the Empire of the said artifact. All the best, sincerely, Rook.
Well, that was terribly long. So, you're on my side, eh? Good. Monk or just poor?
I prefer warrior.
Marvellous, could always do one of those. Oh, handy in a tight spot, eh? Well, are we here to just look or play as well?
What are you talking about, strange man?
I can deal you in if you want.
Come on, newbies. Play fair. Let's all get on, eh? Well, anyway, looking at this rather long and rangy document, you appear to be knight, is that correct?
Yes.
Ah, pleasure. Are you here to just watch and dribble at the glory that will bathe your eyes until you can see no more? Or do you intend to involve yourself in the shenanigans?
Rook told me as long as your efforts didn't adversely affect our operations, I was to help you.
Marvellous. Not an Empire thug, are you? Because they're the only ones we'll be bashing about.
We have no love or hate for the Empire.
Neutrality, so pliable. Well, happy to have you aboard, old boy. And perhaps we'll take you to Batistutas at some point and sort out that monstrosity that seems to be bathing your person.
I happen to like my clothes.
Someone should. Sorry, Bardol's just being playful. You seem
Bardol's
so
being Bardol.
terse. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, at this point, Knight will just grunt.
Bardol kind of extends and grabs him by the shoulders and gives him a little shake. Ah, don't be so stiff, old boy. We're here to have fun after all. A pleasure to have you, Knight. And you do work out, don't you?
Every day.
So anyway, curious. Let's go and find that egg and see what kind of things we can get up to. I should get a bit of an early night, though. Have some, well, it seems of it, some hideous monster I've got to knock about in the ring. 3 hours sleep should do it. I think there's a brothel nearby.
There are many brothels nearby. We own many of them.
Mates rates, eh? Well, let's pop down, have a drink, say hello to the girls, and perhaps get a little bit of a sleep, eh?
Egg returns with a pint in one hand and a sandwich in the other. Where are we going?
Ah, here he is, Egg.
All right, Bardol. Oh, this one. And he gestures at Curious. He is a card cheat. Don't trust him. And this one? Who's he then?
This is a knight. He's going to be accompanying us on our dalliances. And this young rapscallion, I kind of put my arm around Curious and give him a little bit of a shake. This is Curious. Think he might be a bit of a steely young fellow. Anyway, he's going to help us out and getting the band together. Not back together, those boys are dead, Egg, as you know, but reforming the Ungovernables, taking the Empire by the scruff, be able to teach you all kinds of naughty bits.
I'll have you know, I am not a cheat, mate. You're a cheat.
Oh.
Egg looks at Curious, then gets Bardol's attention. Bardol, have a quick word in private.
Of course, young man, always.
And they turn away.
Firstly, is he a monk or is he just poor?
That's what I said. I think it might be both, but we don't mention it. He seems rather sticky about the subject.
Got it. And this Curious fella, you think he's going to be up for the job?
To be honest, from what I could see, he had trouble cheating you, but give him a shot. Tieflings are always entertaining to have around, so yes, don't be too hard on him though, boy. I know he's just trying to do what you were doing. Nothing wrong with that. A little bit of gamesmanship after all.
Is this one of these life lessons you keep trying to teach me?
Yes, let's go with that, eh? Absolutely. Always try and be inclusive and forgiving of people when they're trying to fuck around with you. But if they do genuinely fuck around with you, then slit their throat and cut them up. But we'll get to that another day. Anyway, Tiefling, great. Knight, I have questions about his organisation that is following us, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Seem to like me. Yes, I think it's all good. I think we should turn around now, though, because standing here talking in the middle of the bar, hunched over like this, makes us look like a couple of strange people. Also, want to make sure Rosie's okay.
Egg looks around. Yeah, I think you might be right. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Ah.
Egg approaches Curious. We may have got off on the wrong foot. Nice to meet you. I'm Egg.
I think we may well have done as well, mate. I'm Curious. Pleased to meet you. You're a slippy-handed bastard, but I like you.
Thank you very much. You're not bad at cards yourself.
Rapprochement. My favourite part of any battle. Well done, boys. Very good.
Did I hear we're going to the old cock shop?
Well, yes, why not? Been in the tavern a little while now. He's going to see the town, say hello to the people, let them see this blinding visage, see the girls, have a drink. As I say, we need to get some rest as well, old chap. We do have a tourney tomorrow, and I find the embrace of 3 or 4 young ladies tends to really stiffen a man for the next day.
Oh, Mr. Bardol, you are bad.
Sorry, Rosie. I do apologise.
I will see you in the morning. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Well, that doesn't leave a lot, does it, you old hard-shelled old beast, you?
Oh, you old sauce. And she walks out while the rest of you follow Knight to a nearby house of ill repute. The following morning, having settled up the tab, the 4 of you begin to make your way to the fighting arena, where Rosalind agreed to meet you ahead of the finals of the Iron Fist tournament.
All right then, mate. So, what's this job you want me for?
Bardol takes a little look around just to make sure that no one close enough to really listen. Well, old boy, you're aware of Emperor Salazar, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Very unkind young man.
Not a fan?
Well, no, not really. Despotic tyrants are not really my thing, but I don't think he's a big fan of mine either. Anyway, he's been pulling together all kinds of artifacts of late to try and fill his palace with, or try to gain some kind of magical artifact, etc., etc. The usual. I have heard that there's a particular artifact travelling its way from Alphon. Came from a home of a well-to-do family, the West, something golden sarcophagus or altar.
I've heard about it, mate. Yeah.
Marvellous.
I thought it was only law.
I suppose things all are law until they're found by great men and put in their living rooms. But anyway, seems the old tricky devil's trying to slide that piece through River City on the way to Ovik, and well, I just think that's a terribly bad idea. I think it would either look better on my beautiful new skyship, or perhaps sold to further the cause that is sweeping the nations. So yes, that's kind of the plan. Rough one anyway. Needs to do a little bit of wrecking and hash out the bits, but largely I think it'll be go in, kill people, take it, sell it, and so on. That's why you're here, old chap, you know. Need someone of your expertise to tell me what is good and not.
Do you know what, fella? I like the cut of your jib.
Marvellous. Well, anyway, I hope you don't mind, the potential that perhaps it might be sold and given to the people.
I'm from the people, mate. I literally rose up on the streets. All I want to do is just make sure that everybody's all right. So, you know, rob from the rich, give from the poor.
Well, I must say, Curious, that is very nice to hear. I do apologise. Perhaps my prejudice is about people that look like devils performing like devils, you know. But, yes, I see there's a nice softness to you, and that will be very good in the Ungovernables, because otherwise we tend to kill everything. And frankly, I need someone to temper me when Rosie's not about.
Don't get me wrong, mate. I can slit a throat or two as well.
Ah, good. It's good to see me fuck up some monster, so we'll see how that goes, eh?
Good luck, fella. I've heard he's an absolute beast.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall, and all that cliche, etc., etc.
It's mid-morning, and you guys reach the fighting arena in the heart of River City. A massive, daunting building with multiple entrances, all full of hundreds of people who are arriving to watch the finals of the tournament.
So as we kind of go in, Bardol's going to be very showy and raising his arms, cheering to the crowd, kisses.
Give me a performance check.
15, marvellous.
The people have noticed you and are cheering your appearance as you make your way into the arena.
Yes, thank you, fine people, yes. Of course he will fall, of course. Jeremy, lovely to see you. Thank you for coming out. Here we go.
The man you pointed at looks confusedly around, but excited that you singled him out. My name's not Jeremy, but he seems to know me. Maybe it is Jeremy. And you head in and prepare for the fight.
As he's walking in, Curious is just going to slap him on the back and go, "Mate, I've only known you for a minute. Do me a favour. Don't die."
Ah, many a man has tried to kill me in their time, young man, and here I stand. Fear not, this monster will be no different to the rest. But thank you for your concern, Curious. I like you as well.
Knight will Curious up to a nice area of the stadium, and as sort of Knight walks in, a number of the people in the area will sort of whisper to each other, get up and walk off, making a lot of room for them. And Knight will simply sit down as though nothing has happened and nothing is untoward.
Oh, it's the noise. I like it.
Well known round here, are you?
I'm told that my organisation has an excellent community outreach program.
I like it. Do we get free drinks?
Knight will look over his shoulder, and a couple sitting behind heard Curious ask that and immediately offer their drinks to Knight. He will take them and just hand them to Curious. He's not interested in it himself.
Cheers, geese. This is all right. I could get used to this.
You are welcome.
Down in the pits, preparations are happening, with Egg and Rosalind helping Bardol into his armour and making sure that his swords are cleaned and sharpened.
Bardol is uncharacteristically quiet at this point. He's focusing and concentrating hard on what is about to take place. But he looks for a moment and looks to Egg. These are those moments, young man, the ones we live for. Savour it, Egg. Know where you are. Be present. Now we prepare.
Egg takes out some parchment, then he makes a note with some coal. Okay, Bardol, are you ready?
Of course.
I think they're calling your name. Good luck.
Thank you, Egg. I shall see you up on the other side. Rosie, he gives her a quick hug.
Good luck, Master Bardol.
Bless your heart, old girl. See you in a mo.
Bardol, 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 Bardol.
And as he walks out, his face immediately, as he enters out of the tunnel, just a big smile comes across his face, and he raises both of his swords in his hands. Ha ha ha! Here we go, everybody!
And the crowd erupt at your appearance. The energy in the arena is electric as everyone waits for the fight to begin. As you stroll around on the sandy floor, you can hear pockets of people singing the Bardol song. The only thing missing from the scene is your opponent. You are alone out there.
Bardol kind of looks around at the crowd, raising his swords with the faces to say, "Where is everybody?"
And you hear the announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the finals of the Iron Fist tournament. On one side, the people's champion of Ovik, the man, the myth, the legend, Bardol.
At this, a small bow from Bardol.
And there is another huge eruption from the crowd. And his opponent, representing the Blackwaters, the undefeated, undisputed, all-conquering beast of the South, Shaq! And the eruption of applause for Bardol dips. As the noise decreases, there's an almost nervous tension in the arena. Bardol, as you look across, you can see 2 wooden doors bolted in the middle. Suddenly, there is a bang as the doors shake. Then a second bang, and the doors rattle more violently. And on the third bang, the doors explode into splinters, and stepping out from below is the huge, hulking form of an orc barbarian. Mickey, please describe what they see.
Before them, they see a very disgruntled 6'10" orc barbarian who looked like he's seen better days in the last couple of weeks. He's dishevelled, he's covered in other people's blood and a couple of teeth in there as well, but he doesn't pick them out, he quite likes them. He enters the arena because he knows what's coming. As opposed to the previous weeks of captivity, he's come with a bit more zest. He is angry. What's awaiting him? He doesn't care. He just looks up and he wants to find his captors and kill them.
Shit.
Curious turns to Knight. Fucking hell.
He doesn't look too tough.
Have you seen him? Jesus, mate.
Big muscles make for big targets.
I mean, have you seen him? He is absolutely massive, fella.
I'll put 2 gold on the prancing peacock.
I'm gonna put 10 gold on Shaq. I've heard stories of this geezer. He squashes heads for fun.
And at that, Knight will sort of look over to a boy that has been staring at him for quite a while. And I will just make a 2 gesture for me and then a 10 gesture for him. And the kid runs off into the crowd.
Shaq and Bardol prepare to face off against one another. Roll for initiative.
Oh, good. Here we go, old boy.
Shaq rolled a dirty 20.
I rolled a 5. I think I actually rolled a 2. Bardol was too busy parading and peacocking.
Shaq, top of the round.
Shaq isn't so concerned with what's in front of him. In fact, he's looking into the stands. Can he do an observation check or a check to see any of his captors?
Give me a perception check.
Starting strong.
Ooh.
Natural 20.
Welcome to the game, Mickey. Good grief.
Jack is really focused. He is really focused on his enemies right now.
Shaq, as you scan the arena around you, looking for your captors, you spot up on one of the seats a man you know simply as Sal. Sal is a member of the Blackwater gang, and he is the person who has been in charge of everything that you've done since you were captured.
How far away is he from me?
He is around 55 feet away from you.
How high is the stand from where Shaq's level is?
There's a 10-foot barrier.
Okay, so 2 tall.
A further kind of 5 feet beyond that.
Is there anything around me that I can use?
The only thing around you is Bardol and the hundreds of people who are currently chanting Bardol's name.
He's only 10 foot. All right, I'm going to go and get Bardol, so I'm going to go and grapple him to throw him.
Give me an opposed grapple check first off.
19. Boo.
Well, as I'm raging, get advantage.
I'm good.
I rolled 25.
There you go.
Shaq strides 10 feet in front of him, barely paying attention to Bardol as he just grabs him around the waist and lifts him into the air.
Dick God, oh boy. Not usually the way to do this. Odd.
Shaq would like to move another 30, holding Bardol. With his second attack, he would like to throw Bardol at this person.
Please give me an athletics check.
Shaq rolls a dirty 20.
Having scooped Bardol up like he's a child, the giant Shaq marches to the edge of the arena with his eyes fixed on Sal of the Blackwater gang. Fast-balling Bardol, he throws him 10 feet up in the air and beyond, and Bardol crashes into Sal in the arena. The crowd don't know what to do. There's shocked silence. Bardol, please take 10 bludgeoning damage.
Bardol stands up, terribly undignified. Sorry about that, old boy. I don't know who you are. Crazed, savage, orc barbarian just threw me into the stands. I don't feel like that's the first time that's ever happened, you know? Anyway, where are my manners? Pardon me. And Bardol stands up, uses a bonus action to pull his swords back to his hands. And then I'm going to jump down towards Shaq. But as I do so, I'm going to kind of go, we don't really have to do this, old man. We do have friends, and all friends like me are willing to help. And I think you could do better than your certain situation. Sorry, I'm a bit rattled. I just got thrown as a human. And then I'm going to cast Lightning Lure, which is a cantrip to lash Shaq and try and pull him towards me.
Give a strength saving throw, please, Shaq.
I get advantage on this as well. I get 23.
Bardol leaps from the bleachers back down to the fighting pit, and lightning begins to surge around his hands as a magical whip forms, and he attempts to lash it around the massive frame of Shaq. With nothing more than a cursory look at the lure, Shaq tenses his muscles and lets out a war cry. As the lightning lure falls away from him, doing a barely noticeable 2 lightning damage, halved to 1.
There's no need for this. We can sort something out. You don't look like you're happy with your current employers. I'm judging that was one of them you just threw me at. But join me and some of the boys. We've got some scandalous things to do, and money and women are freely available to heroes. So how about a big boy like you joins a big lad like me, and we get the fuck out of here, eh? As he kind of then also swings a kind of fake sword thrust at Shaq to try and sell a kind of dance of blades.
From the stands, Sal, who looks completely ruffled, says, "You're paid to fight. You're supposed to fight each other."
So yeah, having the lightning whip kind of fail and hold him in place whilst giving Shaq the speech in order to sell the attempt of fighting to the crowd, Bardol is swinging his offhand longsword in a kind of direction that looks like it may trouble Shaq, but at the last minute turns the blade so it slides past his ribs and under his arm, causing him no damage whatsoever, and then fainting back to try and sell the endeavour.
Shaq, your passive perception allows you to know that Bardol is a talented fighter, and had he wanted to hurt you, he could have. But he's obviously chosen not to.
Confused.
Seeing what is occurring, Curious's eyes roll into the back of his head as if he's going into a bit of a trance. And I'm going to do psychic whispers to all of the party. So Bardol, Knight, Egg, Shaq. All right, big fella. Now, this guy's not your enemy. We know this fella in the audience. He is. We're going to get you out of this. We're going to get you back up to where you belong. Put on a good show, and we'll look after the rest. And with that, Kyrios is going to start moving towards Sal through the crowd.
Sal in the crowd says,
"This is not what these people paid for! For the love of the gods, fight each other! Kill him, orcish brute!"
Knight and Egg, you have seen this unusual fight happening with Bardol being hurled into the stands, some obviously wealthy person losing his temper, and then Bardol fighting in a kind of very flamboyant, flourishy way that is obviously not trying to hurt Shaq.
So for the moment, Knight's probably just going to stay where he is and observe the situation, and he's quite enjoying the fake, what he perceives as a fake fight happening in front of him at the moment.
I would probably stay exactly as I am, thinking that Bardol's just being Bardol and he's showboating for the crowd. I would think all was alright with the world.
That's my squire.
Back to the top of the round with Shaq. You've heard simultaneously Bardol trying to convince you he's on your side, your captor yelling at you to fight, and a mysterious voice in your head telling you to trust Bardol.
Holding his head, hearing voices. His first action is just to scream,
"Go away, go away." Why are there 3 voices? Because Shaq counts as 1.
And all of this is happening. And as he looks up, he sees Bardol, and in his desperation and not understanding the witchcraft that's going on around him, he says,
"Then make him come to me like you tried me to come to you."
And I hand the initiative over to Bardol.
We probably shouldn't try and do that during the tournament fight. But I promise you, large beast, there's absolutely no way that we will not be killing him and all of his gang once this scrap is over. I suggest we continue to dance in this fashion for as long as we can, and then, if you'll forgive me, you allow me to lay you out cold, winning the fight, losing your gang members' money, and then we go and dive off to their hideout, slice, dice, maim, and smash them all to pieces until you're perfectly happy and satisfied, and then we gallivant off with the boys and do a tricky bit of business if I could have your ear for a little bit longer. So I will use my 2 attacks as performance attacks to attempt to do my kind of slide up shenanigans.
Give me 2 performance checks, please.
21. Sorry, Shaq, and a 5. The last one is just to sell the kind of oops.
The rest of you see Bardol pivoting and spinning at speed, waving his 2 swords in a complicated and incredible pattern. The crowd are invested. There is a smattering of applause, and they begin to ooh and ah in time with the movements. During a particularly complicated movement, Daesong slashes through Shaq's thigh, drawing blood immediately, and the crowd respond with an ooh, then silence, as they await retaliation. Shaq, please take
6 slashing.
Oh, Bardol.
Halved.
So 3.
Bardol stops slightly and looks up to you and goes, terribly sorry about that. Needed to kind of sell something. Don't hurt me too badly. But remember, you must go down. They must lose their money and reputation and then their lives. In that order.
Shaq takes the initiative back and he says,
You use too many words. I don't understand what you want, but I want him. Bring me him, or I kill you.
and then he just produces his rusty, beaten great axe that they've given him, and he puts it nicely and slowly underneath Bardol's chin and raises his chin up a little bit.
So, lightning lure on Sal in the crowd. I see you've given me little choice, Giant. Let's do it in the open.
That is a failed save.
That's 14 points of lightning damage as I rupture and explode the once supple body of Sal into a smouldering skeleton and pull him towards me.
As the lightning lure wraps itself around Sal, you see his eyes widen, and his final words are, "Can't kill them all!" Everyone roll for initiative, please.
Let's do it, boys. Let's dance.
I rolled a 23.
I have rolled a 22.
I rolled a 4. Not too keen to get into combat. I think everything's going as it should be.
Looks like some chaps are turning up here, fellas. Look, they have a rough and tumble coming.
Bring it on.
Yummy.
From the crowd, Knight, you recognise a number of members of the Blackwater gang have suddenly started to climb down into the arena, onto the arena floor. Shaq, you notice that this particular member of the gang is currently wearing a slightly beat up purple top hat.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I take that personally.
Whoa. Top of the round with Knight.
All the action is to my left, so he's going to explode from his seat in some sort of core jump attack style. Lay a haymaker on this dude.
Okay.
With Ravenna.
Ooh. Very nice. He targets the Blackwater gang member wearing the purple top hat.
So basically jumping from the stand just straight into the bloke.
Roll to hit.
14.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
So that's 5 slashing.
Having exploded out of his seat and leapt down, barely missing a step, he draws his vicious-looking katana from behind his back and begins to slash at the member of the Blackwater gang, who just looks bloodied already under the initial attack from Knight. Curious.
So with inhuman speed, Kyrios is going to jump down behind the guy with the purple top hat. He's going to grab him around the shoulders and basically go, "Sorry, mate. It's not personal, just business." And from his hand, you see appear a psychic blade.
Ooh.
And he's going to put it to his throat and attempt to basically slash him.
Please roll to attack at advantage.
21.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
It's 10 damage.
Curious. Please tell us a story of how you kill this member of the Blackwater gang.
So, as Kyrios appears behind him and grabs him, he whispers in his ear, "Wrong place, wrong time, fella." And a psychic blade appears in his hand and he slashes the throat literally down to the bone and just lets the guy drop to the floor.
And drop he does, and from the crowd you hear an old woman go, "Ah,
It's the devil!"
You see Bardol from across the way noticing and seeing Kyrios and Knight's ability to kill people, and he kind of looks, "Very good, boys. Fine additions already."
I'm going to move right next to him. For my bonus action, he's going to basically manifest another psychic blade, toss it up in the air, and grab it and go, "Sorry, fella. And that is a 25 to hit.
Obviously hits, because he's not a god killer. For the love of all that is holy, please roll for damage.
That is a 9.
Ooh. Having slit the throat of one, Curious then leaps back into the stands and goes to attack the bodyguard of Sal from the Blackwater gang. Drawing his psychic blade, he slashes down across his face, creating a deep, bloody wound. But the bodyguard is still standing. Shaq!
Shaq, seeing two people who he immediately took as enemies all of a sudden kill the person wearing his beloved hat, realises that they can live to see another dawn, and instead he will walk up to where the corpse of the old one was that was wearing the hat. He will pick up the hat, he will put it back on his head, and he will give an almighty war cry at night. Even though Shaq knows that they're not trying to take his hat, he still wants to show dominance.
With the giant orc screaming in his face, Knight is simply going to bow and say, "Well met."
Love it.
Excellent.
As you put the top hat on your head, you feel a metal clunk. Lifting the top hat off briefly, you reach up and you find a key, an old iron key, quite chunky.
I throw it at Bardol.
I catch it.
Shaq, give me an athletics check. Bardol, give me an acrobatics check or dexterity saving throw. Either or's fine.
17 for acrobatics. Back flick and catch, baby.
19.
Shaq kind of reaches up, grabs the iron key, holds it in his hand, and just tosses it backwards over his shoulder. Bardol, who is still in a kind of semi-performative type dance, kind of does a no-handed cartwheel, catching it in his hand and just sliding it into his pocket.
Excellent. Shaq would then like to continue by going up to the closest enemy next to him, and with his second attack, he would like to go in reckless with all his might. Shaq rolls a 16.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
So Shaq rolls 15 slashing damage.
Shaq, please tell us the story of how you utterly eviscerate this member of the Blackwater gang.
After screaming at night and donning my beloved hat back on, he then screams up towards the nearest enemy, and with an almighty sweep, he comes down with his great axe straight through the centre of his skull. He just drops to his knees, but Shaq holds him up with his axe still attached and controls him for 3 to 5 seconds, just waving him around, a foot to the left, a foot to the right, and then he just pulls the axe out and kicks the corpse.
Is that the end of your turn, or is there anything else you would like to do?
I can't get into combat with anybody else because I can attack again, but I'm going to move 15 towards the next one.
Shaq, having eviscerated a member of the Blackwaters, then begins running to the north side of the arena. It is time for the Blackwaters to fight back. From the eastern side of the arena, you see them begin to sprint towards you guys. One of them sprints into combat with Knight, but it already looks like he's a little bit out of puff.
Come to me, my jungle friends.
3 of them sprinting from east to west in your general direction. The bloodied one who is fighting Curious, however, draws a weapon and strikes at the tiefling with a scimitar. 13.
Bills. And under his breath, Curious in Infernal says to him, "You shouldn't have done that." And I'm going to cast Hellish Rebuke.
He rolled an 8. It's a fail. Please roll for damage for Hellish Rebuke.
That is 12 fire damage.
Curious, his eyes kind of burn suddenly with fire, and you see a look of abject terror in the face of the Blackwater guard, whose face is already mangled from his psychic blade, as he erupts into flames and is burnt to ash in an instant. From around you, Curious, the people are terrified.
Oh my God, it's the devil! I told you he's a demon, look at him!
Mr. Bardol Schultz.
Excellent. I think Bardol, seeing the Blackwater guys hurtling and seeing the one hurtling towards Shaq as he runs towards another one on the other side, Bardol is going to interject. Don't want to waste anything too fancy, so we'll just go Day Song. So that's for 24.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
That is 9 slashing damage.
So drawing the magnificent Day Song, you swing it through the air and you can hear the kind of almost angelic sound of the blade cutting through the air as it then slices through the chest of the Blackwater guard, who is still standing.
So I will swing again for a 20.
Is a hit. He's not wearing full plate.
Another 10 slashing damage.
Bardol, please tell us a story of how you kill the Blackwater guard.
Seeing the Blackwater guard charging towards his newly acquired friend Shaq, Bardol cat pounces in betwixt them, drawing Daysong and his offhand longsword, and begins to swing in a beautiful arc, controlling his swords with grace as he slices through the Blackwater's chest and throat with 2 quick slices, shouting, "Shaq, mind your back!" After, some might say, saving Shaq's life, gallop ahead of the large orc barbarian. Sliding to his knees, he extends his offhand sword through towards the chest of the standing bandit, plunging it deep. Hits for 18.
Is a hit, roll of damage.
That's 7 slashing damage.
First off, no one is saying you've saved Shaq's life. Like, literally no one.
Sorry, I meant saved that bandit from Shaq.
Pulverizing him. A merciful death.
Put him out of his misery quicker than Shaq would have.
Yep, and you sprint north and you slash the Achilles tendon of the Blackwater, who drops to one knee, screaming in agony.
Buck up, old boy, buck up.
And finally, Egg.
Egg being totally fucking confused at this point, thinking Bardol was given someone to kill, attacked him, hurt him, befriended him, killed someone in the crowd. He's just going to march into combat with Bardol.
Not fighting Bardol, right?
No.
You're like literally worst squire ever, if that's the case.
Completely confused.
What a squire.
And I'm going to have a swing at that guy with my long swords, and I'm actually going to be looking at Bardol thinking, what the fuck are you doing?
Please attack at advantage.
What's going on, Bardol?
Enjoy it, boy. We are saving the big fellow and killing his captors by the look of it. I was hoping to do a little bit more incognito than this, but, big man wanted death. Death is here.
Fair enough. Okay. I swing my longsword. 13.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
Go on, Egg.
Yes.
9 slashing damage.
Delicious.
Egg, please tell us a story about how you killed the Blackwater.
While marching into combat, not really focused on the guard, more looking at Bardol thinking, what's going on? I accidentally stabbed the guy.
Through a sheer gesture with his hands, the longsword just jabs straight into the side of the head of the Blackwater. You kind of pull the sword back out and he just drops to the floor dead.
Correct.
Beautiful technique, Egg. Didn't mean it, but mighty thrust as always.
I learned from the master. I'm just going to use the rest of my movement, so I'm just going to march into combat with someone else. See what happens. That's the end of my go.
Back to the top round with Knight.
So Knight is going to look at his opponent and say, "You Blackwaters are an embarrassment. I won't sully my blade by using it on one such as yourself." At which point, Knight sheaths his blade and then throws a couple of punches at the guy.
Nice.
That's 16.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
7 bludgeoning damage.
Yep, so your first punch lands in his chest with a bang.
And then I'm going to spend 1 key point and use Flurry of Blows.
Hashtag monk shit.
27. Oh, that's a nat 20.
Nat 20. Please roll for damage on the first bonus action, open-handed, unarmed strike.
8.
Knight, please tell us the story of how you punched this guy to death.
So I've sheathed my sword, and I have just begun laying punches down, body shots, head shots. My opponent falls to his knees, and I don't want to let him get off that easily, so I pick him up again, punch him a couple more times, and then throw his body away, lifeless.
And the dead body skids along the sandy floor of the arena. Absolutely brutal. Love it. Curious, so you are currently surrounded by a crowd of hundreds of people who are all pointing at you and calling you a demon, and you can tell they're terrified, but the terror is sort of turning into aggression.
So I'm going to jump down and I'm going to walk towards this guy here and get into combat. I'm going to walk up with my hands up in the air going, "All right, mate, look, I'm unarmed. You wouldn't hit an unarmed man, would you?" And I have advantage on this roll, don't I?
You do.
So that means sneak attack as well.
It does.
Oh, beautiful. So as he's got his arms in the air, I'm going to cast, again, Psychic Blades. which is a 25 to hit.
It's a hit. Please roll for damage.
So that is 11 psychic damage. And then I have got sneak attack on top of that.
I'm not sure you're going to need it.
Which is 18 in total.
Curious, please tell us a story of how you quietly walk up to this Blackwater with your hands in the air and he ends up dead in a minute.
So as Kyrios is slowly walking towards him with his hands in the air going, "Mate, I'm unarmed. Like, come on, let's just have a chat, shall we?" He manifests a soul knife, and within the blink of an eye, he swings his arm and jabs it straight underneath his chin, putting the blade all the way through his clavicle, the top of his jaw, straight into his brain, and within a split second, he just falls to the floor, limp.
This is the 18 plus podcast, right?
And then Kyrios just takes a step back and goes, "Oops."
The crowd, who have been booing Kyrios mercilessly, for a moment cheer, obviously pre-programmed to just adore violence in any form. They loved the flamboyancy of the kill itself, and then they realise who it is who's doing it, and they go right back to booing, and you can, all of you begin to feel a kind of swell of aggression in the arena, and it no longer feels that safe.
Kyrios turns to the crowd with an almost curtsy and just blows a kiss and goes, "Thank you, and good night."
Seeing now that the threat of the Blackwater gang seems to have subsided, Bardol is back on business and turns to Shaq and just shouts to him with all the roar of the crowd around. Shouts so Shaq can hear him. "Shaq, be a good boy. Go down." And he swings Day Song, doing unlethal damage. 23.
It's a hit. Please roll for damage.
I'm sincerely hoping that Shaq is just going to pretend to be knocked out here. 7 fake bludgeoning damages.
So halved to 3, Shaq.
Flat edge of the blade spanking.
Clang!
Egg is just scratching his head, thinking, "What is going on? I'm so confused."
Bardol, give me a persuasion check, and Shaq, give me an insight check, please.
I was going to say, can Kyrios, still using his psychic whispers, say to Shaq, "Listen to him, mate. Just drop."
Oh, Jesus. Dirty 20.
Still a 17.
Shaq, you are able to comprehend what it is this stranger is saying to you. The fact that he's kind of nicked you a couple of times is no matter to you. You know, they're tiny little flesh wounds, barely worth your time. You grasp the understanding that this man is a buffoon, but what he's saying he's doing because he wants the crowd to calm down. And while you're not scared of the crowd, you can understand it. Whether you choose to follow his instruction is entirely up to you, but you do comprehend the meaning of it.
While Bardol is negotiating with Shaq in this high tense moment, while everyone is booing and shouting, Shaq looks up, hears what Bardol says, and with a grimace in his face, and he looks at his great axe and he says,
"This rusty piece of shit is not going to get me very far. You help me get my great axe, and I am there for you. But you've got to also get me out of here."
"Fine, you block-headed orc. I will get you your axe. I will get you your glory. I will get you women and wine and song and money. I will get you everything you will ever need in these lives, or my name is not Bardol Schultz. Now, when I hit you again, go down so we can get out of here and begin a better life." And Bardol whacks him again.
Shaq waits a second, a little bit, because he's not a good actor. He waits a second after, and then he feigns being stabbed, and then on his knees, spits some bubbles out of his mouth. You bastard, I'm gonna fucking get you. And he just falls flat on his face.
Shaq, can I have a performance check to see just how convincing this death is?
I'm going to be honest, I don't want it to be very convincing, but...
We just need to get your big lumpy head out of here, goddammit. Go down.
Shaq rolls an 18.
Oh!
Delicious.
With the daintiest of slashes across your chest, Shaq goes into a full 360 spin and lands flat on his back and begins to blow bubbles of blood out. And the crowd pause and then explode with cheers as you hear Bardol's name being shouted and all tension from the crowd is dissipated immediately.
So with all the cheering going on, Bardol turns. Ha ha ha! There he is! Longer than I thought, and a few other people, but we got there in the end, everybody! As I then turn silently and kind of gesture to the other three to pick up Shaq and get him out of there. And then continue back to the crowd. Ha ha ha! Yes! Yes, for River City! Anything for River City!
I can't get Shaq.
Knight is going to see the young boy come running over to him as quickly as possible and hand him a small pouch of 4 gold, to which he will give the kid 1.
Couldn't wait till we get off the sand to get his money. That guy, literally. Kid has to run out from the crowd to give him money in the middle of the sand.
Don't mess with my money.
Curious runs over to Shaq, turns to the crowd, gives them a middle finger, and grabs his legs to start carrying him off.
The tension begins to ratchet up as you drag Shaq out of the arena, with Bardol desperately trying to calm down pockets of the area who are furious with Curious. They do not like him at all.
I am not going to help Curious get him out. I'm just going to let him drag him across his head.
Can I do a perception check for any particular troublemakers in the crowd?
Sure. Give me a perception check.
15.
Yep, so there are a couple of local people who you know to be fairly violent, rabble-rousing type characters, and they seem to be at the centre, and they're there kind of whipping people up into a bit of a frenzy.
Knight would like to sort of just generally walk in their direction quite slowly and point towards them.
Give me an intimidation check, please.
13? I mean, people just saw me like obliterate someone with my fists. Can I get an advantage?
You don't need it. At the sight of you walking towards them, the troublemakers suddenly go sheepish, and you actually see them actively trying to calm the crowd down, and the small pocket of anti-Curious hate quiets.
Excellent.
I will just wipe some of the blood off my fists and follow the guys out of the arena.
And you guys head out of the arena to the deafening sounds of the chants for Bardol Schultz, successful in freeing Shaq from his servitude. You guys reach the backstage area where you meet Rosalind.
Ah, Rosie, yes. That was didn't quite go to plan, but here we are. Suppose it did in the end. Shaq, dear boy, fear not, this is Rosie. Rosie, this is Shaq. He might need a little bit buttering up, you know. Bleeding in a few spots.
Oh, he's not dead.
Shaq stands up and he says under his breath,
Nobody ever talks about this, ever.
Agreed.
Then he turns to Rosie.
Oh, Mr. Bardol, you let him live.
Of course, Rosie. Life is valuable, as I've said many, many, many times before.
Many times.
And I fear this large and powerful creature deserved a second chance, and so here we are. Let's patch him up and do best by him, and let's get on to a little bit of rumpus, eh?
Of course. It's very nice to meet you, Mr. Shaq. If you'll hold still, I can patch up your wounds.
He gives a little pathetic growl as he tends to his wounds.
I was so brave.
You were very brave. Well done. And she begins wrapping up and properly getting it all sorted. A few moments later, there you are, right as rain.
The love interest is real.
Keep your eyes off my lady, big fellow.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise. I understand.
And he gets up and he abruptly walks away, out of respect.
Mr. Bardol, I am going to return to the airship. Presume you don't need my help in the coming days.
Oh, I think that is a very good idea, Rosie. Return to the Century Hawk and tell Plex that we will need him soon, no doubt. But you be safe, and perhaps I'll speak to Knight about possibly finding some kind of a bodyguard or something that can go with you to make sure you're safe through the city.
Just take the whole thing to our dogs.
Can Bardol use a hit dice to try and get back some of those 10 wounds that just got pummeled out of him?
Absolutely.
I rolled a 10, so it's 13, but...
Shaq will have two hit dice.
And with the first part of the mission successful, Shaq released, The crowd's sent home happy. You patch yourselves up in the arena, ready to continue your hunt for the elusive and valuable Altar of the Wests. And we'll end it there.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support: Darcy Thompson, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sikora, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, SJ Phionics, Richard Ungermus, Rabbi Camel, Team Vander, Paris Hakar, Path Pursuit, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Mama Strange, Queenie, Liz Beckett, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
Two imposing human beings.
Way! Lads!
Our entire group is imposing, you know that, right?
So much more imposing than the other group.
Just channel your inner Charles Dance.
Oh, I do like the dance.
Bit of Tywin Lannister.
I cannot. I don't have that ability.
Gandalf.
I shall not let you pass.
The world is not in your books and maps. It's out there.
I used to be able to do pretty decently in time. Is that what they say?
Wizard never arrives late. He arrives on time.
I am the villain? Is that what they say?
Good. Lucky I like the sound of my own voice, because it may fill everywhere we go.
Feel free to talk, you guys.
I genuinely did not know what to say to that. That was just brilliant.
Just try and hit all of the D&D tropes that we can.
You know, brothels, taverns.
Yeah, I'm surprised we left this without a fight.
Yeah, I did wonder if it might end up going that way. Maybe between all of you, I don't know.
Mate,
I spent all my time putting drapes up to try and deafen the sound, and I think I should get my tech right anywhere near where it needs to be.
Yes!
Like an idiot.
Audio fidelity!
He can.
Cool. Sorry, I'm not always looking at you guys because there's lots of screens and stuff open, so I'm usually fecking. Brilliant. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thanks.
Nothing like working with friends.
Don't work with animals, children, or friends.
Or the Shaxon 5. Yeah.
Or idiots. Yeah.
Or idiots. Yeah, he's got it right.
Okay.
I didn't realise that was going to kill him. I wanted to kill him.
I was...
What did you think was going to happen?
I was working my way towards
you
him.
Insane ape.
I was going to slit his throat.
Well, let's put it this way. You're going to get Shaq out of here, and we're going to be friends.
Excellent. Let's just say that Bardol's not really dripping in glory on his leadership front at the moment, and is just hoping that going forward, perhaps Shaq will listen to him. But never mind.
Oh, blimey, you get 30 movement this time, don't you?
I'm a real
He's
boy
no
now.
longer a 7-foot dwarf.
I'm a real boy now.
Real boy.
Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our link tree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.